It's debatable if Pokemon Go is its own world, our world, or a part of the Pokemon world. Last week, I discussed the theory that you, the player, were being used by Professor Willow and his teams to capture Pokemon and take over the world. But there was one thing I didn't address, and that is the candy. Now, before everyone brings up the meme that the professor is grinding up Pokemon into candy, you might be surprised to find that it may be something much more sinister. How could it be worse than grinding up Pokemon? Well, sign in and stay tuned to find out. If today's video doesn't interest you though, I have another Ditto theory coming soon. For now, let's find out what candy is that the professor creates. If you haven't seen the previous theory on Pokemon Go's Darkest Secret, please watch it. That video will give you some background for today's theory. Candy is what evolves Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and what makes them stronger. Not so different from rare candy and evolution stones combined together somehow. The candy in Pokemon Go is specific to each Pokemon. Each time a Pokemon is caught, the player is rewarded with some candy instantly, and this encourages players to capture the same Pokemon multiple times and evolve it or make it stronger. But again, the question remains, why? In this world, currently the only thing to do is to battle gyms and gym leaders, and we know those were created by Professor Willow and his teams to find the strongest Pokemon. There is nothing else though, no reason to do this unless you want a really strong Pokemon, but there's no one else to challenge. The real point of the gyms is to root out the best trainers and secure the world with the strongest Pokemon on each of the teams. This is why they're represented by Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, so it's the best of the best. And each team is led by Professor Willow's assistants, making it one big empire.
But Proto, why candy? What does candy have to do with all this?
Well, let's revisit what the professor and his assistants claim to want. Team Instinct's leader believes the instincts of Pokemon are the key to hatching eggs, and his team focuses on breeding. Team Mystic's leader is researching Pokemon evolution and why Pokemon evolve. And Team Valor's leader is researching Pokemon's natural strength and becoming a stronger trainer by training said Pokemon. And of course, Professor Willow himself is researching regional differences in Pokemon locations. In short, all of them combined are researching evolution, levels, hatching, and locations of Pokemon. And you might say,
but Proto, that doesn't really have anything to do with candy.
I would agree, with the exception that candy strengthens and evolves Pokemon, two of the previous aforementioned team leaders' research. As for the eggs and regional Pokemon, you get eggs free from many things like Pokemon stops or just leveling yourself up from catching all of those regional Pokemon for Professor Willow, so it's one big scheme. The candy is not grinded up Pokemon though, due to the simple fact that wild Pokemon give candy upon capture. However, there is something worse. When you send a Pokemon to the professor, he sends you candy back. This candy is left over from the professor and his assistants experimenting on Pokemon. The professor takes the leftover energy, then compounds it into a small ball, calling it candy.
But Proto, what's the evidence for this?
Both Team Mystic and Team Valor desire to strengthen Pokemon, and the only way to do that by giving it candy. While this world's rules are a bit different and not 100% clear, we can assume that the Pokemon are not real living creatures, but instead, once again, data. Once data is destroyed, it can reform itself, similarly to the reincarnation theory. This is why Pokemon caught already have candy, because that is the previous data from other Pokemon that died and reformed from various things within the simulated world. If the professor is sending you candy, it is because that candy used to be a Pokemon. That candy is the digital data of the previous living Pokemon of the same species. Similarly to humans' evolution, we keep old component, DNA, and evolution traits that are no longer needed to survive in the current world. The Pokemon you encounter carry their previous species, and if they were to absorb enough of that knowledge, that Pokemon would not only grow stronger, but also evolve. The idea has been seen in similar games / shows like Digimon, where absorbing data will make the digital monster stronger. The candy itself needs paired with something known as Stardust to make the said Pokemon stronger, this mysterious component is added to strengthen a Pokemon along with the previous data of said Pokemon, its candy. However, there is no information on Stardust except a few vague theories about how it appears within the main series of games, but it's just a valuable item for selling. Maybe it's similar to the Moonstone in Origins and Power, but nothing has been confirmed yet though. All 3 team leaders and Professor Willow have a hand in this. Team Instinct's leader gives out the eggs, Team Valor's leader helps trainers strengthen their Pokemon using Stardust and previously destroyed Pokemon, and Team Mystic's leader forces evolution upon Pokemon in an effort to learn more about it. All of this from a small piece of candy. Candy in the Pokemon world are previously destroyed Pokemon used to strengthen and evolve another Pokemon, and that is pretty sinister. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and share the video. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to research a certain ditto. I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. Good gaming, and God bless.